So let me start this off by saying that I'm not saying Charlie Kirk is still alive. A lot of people are saying that, but just in my opinion, this would be such a huge oversight to not tie up such a huge loose end. I mean, imagine staging something like this and then magically you find out the man is still alive. Your trust in the system would be gone. So even this was staged initially. After the fact, I could see that they might have, removed him or deleted him if this was staged initially. But I think we should question everything. I was not privy to prosthetics and special effects and how things can appear to be real that are not. I have questions like that day when I hear what they call a gunshot. It sounds more to me like when someone is deploying a taser, like a clap, not like a gunshot. And I've fired guns. I've been to the gun range. I've been in shootouts. I've been in different situations. So I'm pretty familiar with how bullets and guns sound. I can tell the difference. But in this case, we should question everything. And there's millions of people that are just not buying the official story because the official story doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And I hope the audio is coming good through clear. Hope you guys can hear me at home. I'm going to play this video for you. This is from, it's a YouTube channel called Trigger Smart. And they have this freaky little German guy. The only reason I say he's freaky is because he sounds very professional, but he has 2 diamonds in his front teeth. So he's definitely a liberal. So you're not going to expect him to have any love for the Charlie Kirk or the Trump types. But again, I like to listen to both sides. I like to hear what everybody has to say. So this is what they were saying about the possibility of a prosthetic. And that's why they turned him on his side where the prosthetic was facing down and not facing up where people could get shots of it or anything. It's kind of like they were pouring out the wound, which doesn't make any sense if you're trying to keep him alive. Or were you just trying to cover up the special effects? Like I said, they're saying the security guards were in on it. I think they might have just, got out of the way, or maybe they were a part of the act. I don't know, but we should look at all plausible possibilities. Take a listen.
Some of the questions that we had offline, and then we can start fielding some questions here in the chat. Let's see. Let's start off with, all right, first one. And this was one of the, probably the more common questions. How do you explain the neck cavitation? And for those who aren't familiar with what that is, that's where the neck bulges and the tissue bulges with supersonic shots. And it typically means that there's the bullet itself going through is causing the fluids in the body to expand rapidly. And in some of the camera, in some of them, not all of them, there were a few where it looked like there was cavitation in the neck area and it kind of swelled up.
I'm not worried about any of that. What I need is an explanation for why his t-shirt jumped up. Why did the shirt he was wearing jump up as if there was a device that was detonated or activated under his shirt? Now, initially, we were saying that it was probably a air actuated pellet gun, a pellet device, and that's what shot up and hit him in the neck. But what they're saying is that it could have been a pump system that was projecting the fluid out of the prosthetic. I'll let them finish. But the t-shirt is the problem that I'm having with the whole thing.
Yeah, the neck cavitation, it is the video that I showed last time. I think there were 2 tubes under his or in his prosthetic. think it's this one here. Yeah, this is the video. So
this was always a very weird and creepy picture. I've seen the man take 1,000 pictures from 10,000 different angles. Never did he have this weird bulge under his left chin, like some kind of throat cancer or a swollen tonsil. It just looks extremely weird. And people keep using this image because there's something off. Something's wrong.
First of all, this is an original footage. This is not altered. And here we can already see a swelling. And I say this is makeup. There is one tube under a prosthetic. And this is what causes an air puff that lifts up his shirt. I'll let it run. So I said there were two tubes under a prosthetic. And here we see such a prosthetic on an actor. The first tube is the fake blood tube that supplies the blood for the wound later on. It's not real blood, it's fake blood. And then we also have a second tube under a prosthetic. And when I say prosthetic, I mean a makeup layer. Here we can see that this is a silicone layer. This is roughly 1 inch thick and it looks like skin. And there they can put tubes in. They do this also in movies and for special effects. And this is what they used here. This is all makeup. And there were two tubes. The first tube was the fake blood tube, and the second tube is the air puff tube. So, okay, here we can see the two tubes, the blood tube and the air puff tube. We can see that they use a regular garden sprayer, a completely common utensil to get the air puff into that tube. And we can also say that there was a valve here for the cavitation that made that shirt first shoot up in the neck area or in the back of his neck, and then the valve closed, and then the shirt shot up to his cheek. So here we can see that animation with the valve. And here we can see a photo of a real actor. Here we can see the two tubes, the blood tube and the air puff tube. We can see that they use a regular garden sprayer, a completely common utensil to get the air puff into that tube. And we can also say that there was a valve here for the cavitation that made that shirt first shoot up in the neck area or in the back of his neck, and then the valve closed, and then the shirt shot up to his cheek. So here.
And there we go. That's it for me. Nothing else before or after this matters. This image right here, it shows his t-shirt going up. His t-shirt on his stomach is up above his chest and it rises up to the height of his nose. What in the universe could have caused his t-shirt to pop up that way? A bullet from the side of your neck at 200 yards away will not cause the front of your t-shirt to jump up in front of your face. That's the only red flag that I see that pretty much throws every argument out of the window, and what is why I'm open to exploring any and all possibilities. Look at this shirt. Why did his shirt jump up like that? No one can explain it, and that's my problem with this whole thing. So I'm open to hearing any and all plausible suggestions, all of them.
Here we can see that animation with the valve. And here we can see a photo of a real actor with a prosthetic. And this is not a real wound. This is all
what movie was that from?
that was from Sicario Day of the Soldado from the year 2018. Yeah, this is an actor. Yeah, and then we also had, we showed the clip with the ballistic gel. We can also show that now, where you can see that that Dr. Chris Mortensen made this argument that that there was a cavitation event. And here we have this clip again. And we can see that the cavitation is behind the bullet. And this is a big problem for the argumentation by Chris Mortensen, because this means that the bullet would have needed to exit the body of Charlie Kirk, because the cavitation is always behind the bullet.
And that's the question that a lot of people were kind of battling with. They said, all right, so say if he got shot and he had this Man of Steel neck, right?
Yeah.
So he's Superman. So his neck stopped this 30-06 bullet or whatever bullet they say it was. Like with what you're saying, it wouldn't have enough travel room, right? It might have a few inches. So if it entered the front of his neck and it hit his spine, it only traveled 1 or 2 inches. Like you said, you're not going to get that huge cavitation event similar to this. Now, you might get a nice impact. You're still going to have the 2,400 feet or 2,500 foot-pounds of force hitting the spine, but it might not do that type of cavitation like we're seeing here.
Now, we just skipped ahead in this video. It is on the page, Trigger Smart. But they said that there was a special effects specialist in the audience this same day who specifically works on doing wounds and from slashes and gunshots for movies and actors. They do special effects on sets. They're basically saying that this was possibly a production. And if you look how the security moved and how fast they went and grabbed the memory cards, but they didn't take the expensive high definition cameras. Well, what are you trying to cover up? What are you hiding? Why wouldn't you have taken everything? And matter of fact, why is everybody trampling over the crime scene? Why isn't Charlie Kirk still not buried? Why, when Erika Kirk was standing next to his body and she put her hand by his hand, it looked like a small plastic hand. Even if you're dead, your hands are not going to shrink. So there's a lot of issues with everything that's going on, but I'm going to let them finish this part.
Burton Hibbs drone. Let's see, hold on, make sure I can understand this before I share this. Let's see. Please correct your guess. She's saying the guy with the hat is not the Hollywood artist for the squib. It is Burton Hibbs. He's the drone guy. So she's just saying one of the pictures you showed, it wasn't the correct people, according to her research. And she said his brother is Pastor Jack Hibbs.
Yeah, did they say it's Butch Hibbs? Yeah. This is what they say. Is this Butch Hibbs? Butch Hibbs here? This guy, I have it here. Butch Hibbs? This guy, they say this guy is Butch Hibbs. And there's people that say, yeah, that's just Mike McCash disguised as Butch Hibbs. I think there is some pastor called Hibbs, and they say, oh, this pastor has a brother, and his brother is called Butch Hibbs. But it could be that this brother of the pastor is just completely invented. It could be that there is no Butch Hibbs. This is just Mike McCash playing Butch Hibbs. Yeah.
All right. Now, people are getting wild now. They're getting wild. Hide your girlfriend. Algeist is out. He's gonna.
Yeah, people. I mean, it's like 3 a.m. here. Like this is where when I typically dance out. Like I win every dance battle in every club at this time on a normal Saturday or Sunday. Yeah. So
what style of dance? Because you're people like, okay, so obviously you do this research and the science and that kind of stuff, and you do the videos, but you're also like a performance athlete, right? Like a longevity athlete.
Yeah, this is longevity athleticism is different. This is more like a yogi. Okay. Like a monk, more or less. Or not a monk. I don't live like a monk. I have a very unique style. So I do a lot of yoga. I do a lot of walking. I mean, I did a lot of sports when I was young, like this size here. And you can hide tubes in this 1-inch thick prosthetic. And I had this video run before. Maybe I can let it run again.
But as far as who set it off, it could have been anyone.
So
a lot of them have remote triggers.
Before. Yeah, who set it off? Okay, yeah, I think that was in the movies. It's always the actor and someone outside. So in the movies, it's always two people to prevent uncontrolled explosions, and I think it's the same thing here. I think Kirk somehow set it off. He could have had this maybe somewhere, I don't know, in his, essentially anywhere on him, maybe on his thigh somewhere, or so the trigger, I mean, to set it off, to set the air puffs off, and another audio guy, maybe the guy that told him to lift up the microphone with the left hand. Maybe, I don't know, do I have this somewhere? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I think I have it in blurred even here. So this video, I'm just going to stop that. It was, I think this one here. Yeah, this guy might have set it off, or this guy here might the second one, right? And then run away. So
and
yeah,
then,
any one of them. So it's, yeah.
And it was remote, yes.
Yeah. So in the movies, it's always two. It's always the actor has one igniter, yeah, and someone from the team to prevent uncontrolled explosions. And I think they did exactly the same thing here. So
it was like a prosthetic and that kind of stuff, and it was like special effects to fake his death, allegedly, or something similar. The fact that guy happened to be there is very suspicious.
Yeah. So maybe you can show a picture of video 7 where he is, but there's blood in there. So maybe in the beginning.
Yeah,
but
we don't want to show that one.
This guy stands in the inner security area. So this is this guy here. Maybe if you share my screen here, this guy here, you can see him later on. And many people argue that this is Mike McCash. So this guy here, because it's the same height. So this guy is kind of short. Charlie Kirk was 6'4". So the height would match. And the beard would match and everything. And this guy is a makeup artist. And he can just make himself look like an older guy by just dyeing his hair, wearing a cap and sunglasses. And then you have a makeup artist specialized in neck wounds. So I blurred that out here. But this guy is specialized in neck wounds. And he's in the inner security area. And why would they do that? Yeah, maybe if there's something wrong with the prosthetic, with this silicon layer that Charlie Kirk had here, if there was something wrong with it, maybe if it ripped or something, then I think this guy would have ran there and would have just fixed it. This is why he was there. I think this might really be Mike McCash. But I have to say, Mike McCash with makeup. So he would have needed to dye his beard, put on sunglasses, and use makeup to conceal himself. But from the height, this might be him.
Now, even aside from the makeup and stuff and him making himself look older, I heard from a lot of other sources have said that he was there, period. Like in whatever form he was there.
Yeah. And this, I blurred this out here, but this actor, this is a gunshot wound. So you can maybe just, make a still frame here and type in this YouTube URL, and you can see that he makes a video on how to fake a neck wound in a slasher movie. This is what he presents, and this guy was there in the inner security area, most likely. Yeah.
All right, we have a super chat from Alley Top Files.
Okay.
Still on the fake hands in the coffin. Why did Erika film a video with a mic on beside the coffin? So in other words, if she's grieving her husband, why is she doing a photo op with a wireless mic and all that kind of stuff? And then when they lifted Charlie, the freedom letters disappeared. Yeah, there's some anomalies and stuff you see in some of the videos. No blood. Now, I've seen pictures with blood from, what was it, McClintock? McClintock has some images where it looks like there's definitely real or fake blood as Charlie's being carried out. Let's see, when I come on, yep. So she's possibly going to be coming on as well to do a live stream of her own. She has some evidence and things that kind of point the same direction. But as far as the fake hands in the coffin, But as far as the fake hands in the coffin, that's newer to me, Ali. So we can discuss that a little bit deeper. But thanks for the
Yeah, what she wants to say is that's a puppet, and it's really conspicuous how small the hands are of Charlie Kirk. And there's couples on X where they say, okay, the husband is like also 6'6", and the woman is 5'3", and they compare their hands, and you can really see in these X pictures how small the hand of the woman looks. And Charlie Kirk was 6'4". So this is there are these pictures on X where Erika Kirk puts her hand on Charlie's hand, and they look the similar size.
So for those of you who are just tuning in and they have no idea what he's talking about, if you don't have any idea what he's talking about, I'll find it on X. Erika Kirk hand, Charlie's hand. Let's look it up together. This is what everyone's talking about. Right here. So in this picture, in this video, the person's hands look like they're bronzed plastic. They look like fake prosthetic hands. They don't look like real human hands. But also, she's about 5'3". He's roughly 6'5". Her hands and his hands appear to be about the same size now that they're on top of one another. And this right here set off a whole bunch of red flags for people that, well, that's the big difference between men and women. Even when you see trans men, you can just look at their hands and you know it's a man. Can you be a big man with petite hands? It's possible, but it's not common. And her hands either appear to be the same size, if not bigger than his. And again, Charlie Kirk has never been laid to rest. He's not buried anywhere. And no one's talking about it. No one's even outside the family of Tyler Robinson's house trying to get interviews with his parents. It's as if this never happened. And none of these people even existed. But I'm not supposed to notice anything. No one's supposed to notice. Candace isn't supposed to notice. We're just supposed to just, I don't know, I guess forget about everything. So Tim Pool and Tyler Brewer or whatever these assholes from TPUSA can be happy while everybody runs cover for them. We're supposed to just shut up. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So I just wanted to bring this video to light. There's people talking about there are prosthetics and there are different things that are other possibilities. I just wanted to put it on record. Like and subscribe, share the video. Remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.